you probably were doing something right.
Exactly.
Right. So I thought, hey, cool, I'll do more. And then, real estate was in the toilet, and I realized that if I worked 25 hours a week, that would pay the rent. So that was good. So I would do that, and then I would do my real estate day. And then after about 6 months of this, I looked at myself and I went, wait a minute, I'm a Harvard MBA. Why am I working for $20 an hour? This is absurd. So even though I had thought of it as a hobby, and then it was a paying hobby, I thought, well, I can make it a better paying hobby. And then it became a business. And then, well, once I was doing that, I'd already known NLP because I had learned it to help sell, because I'd never sold anything, and there I was in real estate. And it just made sense to add NLP to the readings, because why would you leave somebody in pain or looking at a future they didn't want when you could change it? And then I started teaching classes, something called Integral Transformative Practice, and one day I looked around me and there were 35 people tranced out on the floor, right? I was doing a guided meditation with 35 people, and I went, oh man, I better be responsible about this.
There you go.
So I became a hypnotherapist. So I do that too. And actually the way that it works, because I started on a 900 number, I do everything on the telephone.
That's a lot of responsibility. You've got people who are calling you that are more or less putting their life in your hands, and they're asking you for information that could be life-altering, life-changing for them. How do you feel about having that kind of responsibility?
Well, I don't actually, in a way, look at it that way. I'm providing them the best information I can give them, and oftentimes it's information they don't already have. But also, oftentimes, they already know. Only they don't want to admit it to themselves. People know. People know at a very deep level what's really going on. And I will always tell people, if this doesn't resonate for you, don't use it. You are your own authority. It's your life. You're in charge. I'm here giving you the best information you can, or I can. And if you want to change, I'm here to help you get the change that you came for, but it's what you asked for. Part of the thing about being a coach is I'm a taxi driver. Exactly. Right? A coach was originally, a coach and four, coach and horses. And the person who was the coachman was just taking orders. If you tell me I'm at the Bank of America building, sorry, this is San Francisco, and I want to go to the Golden Gate Bridge, I'll take you there. If you're at the Bank of America building and you want to go to Golden Gate Park, I'll take you there too. Right? I have the tools.
Right.
You have the choices.
Exactly. Yeah. So you get a lot of people who are calling you more or less for validation, because everybody, I think primarily that's what people go to psychics for, is you have this gut feeling, you just want somebody else to validate it for you, and you get into a more intimate part of this person clairvoyantly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that absolutely works.
And what therapists will tell you, and hypnotists and NLP practitioners, and everybody talks about rapport.
Yes.
Right? Well, a clairvoyant reading is about as quick rapport as you can get. Because if I'm seeing you clearly, and I'm seeing you clearly, well, then you have nothing to hide.
Exactly.
And the truth is, that's why everybody should develop their own intuitive abilities. Like, we all know the truth, and we all might as well admit it and know we admit it and admit it to each other, and there'd be a lot less game playing. The world would be a nicer place.
And I'm sure that, if you tell somebody something that doesn't resonate with them, they're going to let you know.
Oh yeah, absolutely, right away.
Yeah, absolutely. And, that I'm sure has an effect on, whether people recommend you or how your business goes. So.
Yeah. And no psychic is 100% right. I know what I'm good at. I know what I'm bad at. And I will tell people up front, if somebody calls me for a business reading, then they'll go, by the way, would you look at this health thing? I'm like, I don't really do health. I don't know enough about it. I don't know enough about the body. I can maybe get some messages from my guides, but guides can only work with what you know consciously. So if I don't know the names of the vertebrae, I can't tell you which vertebrae it is. I can kind of go, oh, it's sort of in the middle there.
Yeah.
But that's all I can do. I can see it, but I can't tell you which one it is. So if I don't know about health, I can't really, if I don't know about the body, I can't do a health reading.
So you've sort of, business seems to be your forte.
Right, because I've been in business for, over 25 years. I've run a number of my own businesses by myself, with partners. I know business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's been your path, and now you're actually on your path intuitively, plus what you've gained in knowledge from all your experience. So that's a good thing.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. And helpful to my clients.
So what else? You work with business clients, and you do the NLP and hypnotism.
Well, everything is kind of one ball of services at my clients' feet. It's what they need. I am at their service, and I take that very literally. It's about service.
Great. So tell me, how did you end up in the Bay Area? You started out in Sacramento, so you've kind of...
No, actually, I'm from the East Coast. I'm from New Jersey.
Are you really?
Yeah.
You've been...
And I very intentionally moved to California. Yeah, when I was 11, we came out here. My family came out here on vacation, and I said, San Francisco. And I said, that's where I want to move. And it took me a while, but I got here and been here ever since.
And I always felt that you were going to end up there.
Oh, I always knew it. Yeah, I always knew I would be here. And I just arranged after business school, I made sure I got a job here. So, and I'm not leaving.
This kind of goes along with what you're talking about, how you create your own reality.
Absolutely.
So you've created yours starting from the time you were little.
Yeah.
And just kind of, this is what I want. And a lot of people, you'll notice a lot of children that really feel strongly about their path, where they're going. They know exactly what the end result is going to be.
Yeah, the adults need to listen to them.
They get there a lot faster.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and adults need to listen to them and not try and convince them to do something different.
We
all know.
Yes.
Yeah. You can call it by many names. You can call it a higher self, a deeper self, a larger self, the daimon, anything, your soul, your spirit, I don't know. People have different words, but we all know deeply and intuitively what we're here for.
Exactly.
And we each need to honor that. And my job is to help you, once you're honoring it, there are things come up. So my job is to help smooth out that path so you are on it easily.
I think it's very interesting that you are kind of culminating business with what you're doing. Everybody's viewpoint is starting to change a bit.
Oh yeah,
and which is a very wonderful thing. And part of the change is that people are not only trusting in their intuitive self, they're seeking knowledge, they're going out there and starting to look for answers, which is great.
I'm so thrilled. Yeah, the funniest thing, I went back to a college reunion in June, and I pretty much go every 5 years. And when I started opening up, however many years ago, and I showed up at reunions and I said, oh, I'm doing clairvoyant readings, people looked at me like I was crazy. They looked at me like I was out of my mind. And, that kept going. And 10 years ago, they were still looking at me like I was out of my mind. 5 years ago, I was a little odd. This year, people were going, hey, cool. And one of my classmates who used to own a major bakery and sold it is now a painter, and he's channeling paintings. But I had to tell him he was channeling. He didn't know the word. It was so much fun to be able to kind of say, you could go read this. You could go do that, and just see him open up. And he started to tell me stories about how basically a spirit guide had saved his life on mountains in a couple times, and how he'd seen dead people on a mountain another time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really fun, and he would have never admitted that. This is a rugby player. Never have admitted it, even 5 years ago. And that's just one example, people are so much more open.
Now, you talked about something in your newsletter. Hollis sends out a fabulous newsletter. You talked about people getting together and having a unified thought.
Yes.
Tell us about that, because I thought
that
was awesome.
Okay, we were out on the side of a mountain. There were about 50 of us who had come there basically to call star visitors to us. There are protocols where you can actually have them come to you. It's not random and it's not crazy. It's something I would never have even thought about 3 years ago. If you had said to me 3 years ago, you're going to be out on the side of a mountain trying to get, ETs to come visit you, I would have said, yeah, right.